Some poems from the 50s. The end of the world. Night falls and day breaks out laughing. Once upon a time, there was a handsome prince and a poor miller's beautiful daughter and a jealous stepsister and a wicked witch and an evil sorcerer and a blind giant and a club-footed dwarf and a headless horseman and a bloodthirsty werewolf, and they all lived happily ever after, once upon a time. "Good evening, Herr Goethe," said charming Bettina. Or was it Marie? Or perhaps Carolina? Or cuddlesome Kätchen? Or sweet Marianne? Or Lily? Friederike? Or his Schatz Christian? "Good evening, dear Friedrich," said Goethe to Schiller. "I've just completed your spine-tingling thriller. Did you like it?" "Oh, yes, but 'twill be hard as hell to find a good actor for the part of young Tell." For Marilyn Monroe. But tick, but talk, 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 but tick, but talk. Ding dong, ding dong. Ach, bun was, ech bon wes, ich bin wis, ook ben wo's, ook ban wo's, ach ben wo's, ich bin wis, ich bon wes, ook bun was, ook ban wes, ook ben, wis ich bin, wo's ich bon, wo's ach bun. The moon is green and full, though mean is gran und fell, the main as grün and full, the man is green and fill, the moon is grown in fell, the main is green und fall, the moon is green. Der Mond ist grün und voll, der Mint ist grown und fell, der Mund ist grown en vol der mond os gren und viel door mond es groen en viel door mond os grin en full der mond is groen. The Oracle. While not spectacular, this tale is certainly oracular. A long, long time ago, against great odds in the will of the gods, a farmer stumbled and fell smack blob in the dell at Delphi. And Delphi, as you know and I know, was a no-no. "Oh, what the hell," said he, and took a long, long look at certain uncertainties moving in the grass, and then, perplexed and even vexed at the hexed and oversexed lay of the land, said, "Oracle, my ass," and spat in the grass, and thumbed his nose as the oracle arose. She was a beauty, or what we in modern times might call a cutie, and when she chose the farmer in the dell to shed his clothes and dwell at Delphi with her, the poor old redneck fled, or tried to, and fell down dead. He died with his boots on, among the alien corn, or whatever it was that grew so blue in the dell at Delphi a long, long time ago. I know not what it means, but facts are facts, and acts are acts. And as I said, while not spectacular, the tale is certainly oracular. In 30 seconds, the world is coming to an end, and I have just eaten the last French fried potato. I wonder who, way back in the dawn of history, ate the first French fried potato. I think, therefore I am. Think, therefore I am I. Therefore I am, I think. I am, I think, therefore. Am, I think, therefore I. I think, therefore you are. Think, therefore you are I. Therefore you are, I think. You are, I think, therefore. Are, I think, therefore you. I think, therefore he, she, or it is. Think, therefore he, she, or it is I. Therefore he, she, or it is, I think. He, she, or it is, I think, therefore. She or it is, I think, therefore he. Or is it, I think, therefore he, she? It is, I think, therefore he, she, or is, I think, therefore he, she, or it? I think, therefore we are. Think, therefore we are I. Therefore we are, I think. We are I, think, therefore. Or I think, therefore we. I think, therefore you, plural, are. Think, therefore you, plural, are I. Therefore you, plural, are, I think. You, plural, are, I think, therefore. Plural, I think, therefore you. Are, I think, therefore you, plural. I think, therefore they are. Think, therefore they are I. Therefore they are, I think. They are, I think, therefore. Are, I think, therefore they. I think, therefore, the end. A book about eggs, a book about chickens, a book about legs, a book about Dickens, a history, a dirty story, another history, a distorted story, Rome in all its glory, another story, a tale told, a told tale, told by grandma and one by grandpa, a tale told by an idiot in your idiom, and then in mine. The book about eggs has a chicken in it. The book about chickens has a leg in it. The book about Dickens has a history in it. The history has a dirty story in it. And the dirty story is full of distortions because a chicken is the egg's way of making more chickens and, of course, more eggs. The first two selections are pieces that Alison Knowles and I used to perform by candlelight at Fluxus festivals in Europe in 1962 and 1963. The systematic shifting of the vowels in each piece is a method used in my book Rotopoems and several other works from the 1960s. An de nemo ufta feather, and ufta sen ind of du heligest imon. What is the difference between a deck and if it looks as bet the somu? What is the difference between it duck? Any of its legs is bit to suma. What is the difference between it duck? Any of its legs is both the same. What is the difference between a dick? Oh no, if its legs are both the same. What is the difference between a duck? Una if its legs are both the same. In the name of the Father and of the Son, and if the Holy Ghost. Amen. Litany and response number 2 for Alison Knowles. How are you, dear Eloson? Very well, thank you, Emmett. Who are you, dear Ulasen? Very well, thank you, Emmett. Who are you, dear Ellison? Very well, thank you, Umat. Who are you, dear Oluson? Very well, thank you, Emmett. How are you, dear Allison? Vaudeville, thank ye, Emmett. A selection from 5,000 New Ways. The 5,000 New Ways were conceived in 1962 in Darmstadt by candlelight after an electric power failure. For lack of anything better to do, or for some other inexplicable reason, I took compound words, split them up, and turned the freed second halves of the words into verbs. The results were fascinating. Dormant metaphors and meanings that had never before existed in the compound words suddenly sprang to life, creating new poetic situations, mostly absurd, always interesting. The new way the maiden heads, the new way the banana splits, the new way the belly buttons, the new way the hippity hops, the new way the lickety splits, the new way the drum sticks, the new way the bamboo shoots, the new way the cream puff, the new way the jigsaws, the new way the powder puffs, the new way the Tootsie Rolls, the new way the bottlenecks, the new way the race questions, the new way the pussy willows, the new way the cake walks, the new way the partnerships, the new way the ear trumpets, the new way the gang bangs, the new way the square roots, the new way the pork chops, the new way the ding dongs, the new way the fig leaves, the new way the diaphragm jellies, the new way the ham hocks, the new way the Venetian blinds, the new way the soda pops, the new way the sheep dips, the new way the cockpits, the new way the roototoot toots, the new way the fever blisters, the new way the band-aids, the new way the eardrums, the new way the pen names, the new way the poop decks, the new way the corkscrews, the new way the fingernails, the new way the sidewalks, the new way the ice creams, the new way the skid rows, the new way the circle jerks, the new way the joysticks, the new way the foxtrots, the new way the footnotes, the new way the orange crushes, the new way the bean sprouts, the new way the tomtits, the new way the curtain calls, the new way the eyelashes, the new way the organ stops. Duet. Art of my dart, arrow of my marrow, butter of my butter, bode of my abode, cope of my scope, curry of my scurry, den of my Eden, dew of my ado, ember of my member, eel of my feel, fort of my effort, flexibility of my inflexibility, go of my ego, gain of my again, hence of my whence, him of my whim, inky of my dinky, inter of my hinter, jog of my jog, Johnny O of my oh Johnny O, kipper of my skipper, kin of my skin, liquor of my flicker, lapstick of my slapstick, mission of my emission, motion of my emotion, nip of my snip, now of my now, oiler of my toiler, Orpheus of my Morpheus, port of my sport, patter of my spatter, quash of my squash, quiescence of my acquiescence, raving of my craving, ream of my cream, scent of my ascent, swan of my aswan, tiff of my stiff, top motion of my stop motion, unction of my function, urging of my purging, vent of my event, vocative of my evocative, well of my swell, wallowtail of my swallowtail, X factor of my X factor, X of my axe, ye of my eye, Y of my, zip zaps off, of my oh zip, oh zap, oh zoff, zim zam zoom of my oh zim, oh zam, oh zoom. Do you remember when I loved soft pink nights and you hated hard blue valleys? And I kissed mellow red potatoes, and you loved livid green seagulls, and I hated soft yellow dewdrops, and you kissed hard pink oysters, and I loved mellow blue nights, and you hated livid red valleys, and I kissed soft green potatoes, and you loved hard yellow seagulls, and I hated mellow pink dewdrops, and you kissed livid blue oysters, and I loved soft red nights, and you hated hard green valleys, and I kissed mellow yellow potatoes, and you loved livid pink seagulls, and I hated soft blue dewdrops, and you kissed hard red oysters, and I loved mellow green nights, and you hated livid yellow valleys, and I kissed soft pink potatoes, and you loved hard blue seagulls, and I hated mellow red dewdrops, and you kissed livid green oysters, And I loved soft yellow nights, and you hated hard pink valleys. And I kissed mellow blue potatoes, and you loved livid red seagulls. And I hated soft green dewdrops, and you kissed hard yellow oysters. And I loved mellow pink nights, and you hated livid blue valleys. And I kissed soft red potatoes, and you loved hard green seagulls. And I hated mellow yellow dewdrops, and you kissed livid pink oysters. And I loved soft blue nights, and you hated hard red valleys. And I kissed mellow green potatoes, and you loved livid yellow seagulls. And I hated soft pink dewdrops, and you kissed hard blue oysters. And I loved mellow red nights, and you hated livid green valleys. And I kissed soft yellow potatoes, and you loved hard pink seagulls. And I hated mellow blue dewdrops, and you kissed livid red oysters. And I loved soft green nights, and you hated hard yellow valleys. And I kissed mellow pink potatoes, and you loved livid blue seagulls. And I hated soft red dewdrops, and you kissed hard green oysters. And I loved mellow yellow nights, and you hated livid pink valleys. And I kissed soft blue potatoes, and you loved hard red seagulls. And I hated mellow green dewdrops, and you kissed livid yellow oysters. And I loved soft pink nights. Another poem from the 60s, Triadic Landscapes. I see apes aping an ape man. I see boobs booing boo-boos, and con men convening in convents. I see divines defining divinity, epics epitomizing epochs, and flashes flushing flesh. I see graduates gradually graduating, hookers hooked on hookahs, idlers idolizing idolatry, and Jews Jewing down Jews. I see kibbutzes kibutzing on kibbutzim, lambent lambs in Lambeth, a man mangling a mangrove, needles needlessly needling, and operatic operators in opera huts. I see performers preforming performances, a quota of quotable quotes, relations relating to relativity, savages savaging savagery, toilers toiling on toilets, and users abusing usages. And I see verbalists verbalizing verbatim, waiters waiting on waitresses, Yanks yanking off Yankees, zigzaggers zag-zigging on a ziggurat. Fin de poem. Rota poems. 6 variations on a poem by Dieter Roth from his lyrical collection Scheisse. Fin moert se wies, daar bloeien zeelu grent verderpt, viel die in heller stoop van usen hoer im woorpt. In ihr die Fremde, als die letzte hiermit starbt, dan als jo'n klempen engel, liep vielleicht ook vaart als brune schat aan jenem hiessen Erd. Von mir zwers door bleien Säule grind verdirbt, weil die een hallo Stopp von es und hier umwirbt, und die Fremde, als die letzte Heimat starbt, denn als een klempen engel lebt weil just auch fort, als breiner Schet in einem Piosen Erd. Wenn mir zu Haus de bleien Süli grind verderbt, will der in Hulestaub von euch in Hur ihm wirbt, und der Fremde, als die letzte Heimat stirbt, denn ul sein klempen Engel lebt wie lost auch fort, als breane Schit en önem hösen Urt. Wenn mehr Savus de bleien Seile grind verdirbt, weil da ein hohler Stub von uns in Hur ihm wirbt, und die Fremde, als die laatste hamet stirbt. Dun als een klimpen engel liep violacht ook vert, ils brenne shet aan jonum heisen erd. Wenn Mars wees, de blooien ziele grint verderpt, weil du een hallo steep van jus in heer werpt, en al die fremde, als de lidste hermit stoopt, denn als een klimpen engel liep verlaust, viert als breine schet in einem husen eert. Van moerts wees de blauwen zeiler grind verderbt, weil door een hule stoip van us in heer werpt, und ihr die Fremde, als die laatste Heimut sterbt, denn als ein klempen Engel loop verleucht ik vaart, als brine shit in einem husen erd. For Dieter wrote, there was a little bird, I've been told, whose tail was plumed with shimmering gold. Kiwit, kiwit. They built the bird, as I recall, a silken nest in a marble hall. Kiwit, kiwit. She laid 3 eggs, so people say, then into the darkness stole away. Kiwit, kiwit. The eggs she laid, it is writ, were brown and soft and smell like shit. Kiwit, kiwit. A fragment preserved for sentimental reasons. There is something to say on the subject of subjects and the object of objects, viz., their subjectivity, their objectivity. Out with it, man. Silentium. Dorothy saw a whale blow. If there's something to say it, or let the whale blow it. Ahem. How subjective is an object? Ladies and gentlemen, take an object, any object, step right up, folks. Don't be scared, monsieur, mesdames, and all the little monsieur et dames. Step right up. Take an object, any object. I'm sorry, man, that's a subject, and we're looking for an object. O-B-J-E-C-T. And if there are no objections, we'll ask the little lady who saw the whale blow. Cool it. To get back to the subject, the 3 bananas, for example, on the starboard side of the Henkel Piccolo suitcase, which is addressed to Emmett on the eve of his departure for Iceland, this 15th day of June, 1967, and to the handle of which is tied a poem. This suitcase, to suit the case, has nuts in case you're nuts, or become so aboard ship. As ever, love, right, Allison. To drop the nuts and return slowly but surely to the 3 bananas, to the port side of which is a pear, uneaten, unsung, before now that is, touching a green bag transformed into the green hat I wore last night, and the night before a lemon and a pickle came a-knocking at my door. I went downstairs to let them in. They hit me over the head with a rolling pin and informed me politely that I had a hole in my head, out of which, no doubt, the bananas keep falling. All right, what about the 3 bananas? There were 4 of them, but I ate one for breakfast. Before breakfast. I wonder if Dorothy had one for breakfast. Before breakfast. The cherries on the top bunk have not entered into this chronicle, strangely enough. Not strange at all. The subject was bananas. It is not necessary to describe a banana. A banana is an object of long or short duration, depending upon appetites and circumstances. That it is yellow and not blue, and that some people who disdain it don't eat it, and that some people who disdain it don't eat it but smoke it to stretch their grass. Grass is not better than ass when it comes to bananas. Says very little about the 3 bananas on the starboard side of the Henkel Piccolo suitcase. If bananas were blue and I loved you, or bananas were brown and I wore a crown, or bananas were red, which they often are, enough said. If or or these three would still be there now, next to the pear, even if pears were pink, even if pears were pink and Dorothy hadn't given it to me but someone else being the subject and not the indirect object. Here are several dozen poems used as titles of a series of colorful collages that I made in the early 1980s. The collages, 8 to a frame, are reminiscent of the fruit and vegetable monsters of the 16th century Milanese painter Giuseppe Arcimboldi. All the portraits are based on my own profile, which probably accounts for the confessional tone of the poems. Souvenir portraits from the passing parade in dreamland. Memories the artist wants to forget but can't. They keep pounding on the bolted door of his psyche, and now and then he lets them in. Sometimes they wander off after a few martinis and a good dinner, but more often they stay the night, never sleeping, blabbering away in a cacophony of do you remembers until, in the early light of dawn, the alarm clock goes off and they take temporary leave of his senses. Portrait of the artist with holes in his head, or rather, if that description sounds too banal, impersonating public figures lacking the organs of vision usually located in those fixed bony sockets of the skull here laid bare. They are, of course, judges and critics, for justice, as we all know, is blind. Several of them are arbiters of beauty pageants, following a tradition of decision-making initiated by Aristotle, who, when asked why men prefer to consort with beautiful persons, replied, "That question should only be asked by a blind man." Portraits of the artist of, well, let's say, primitive man, or primitive somethings, from one planet or another. So primitive that there are no more of them, at least not upon the earth, which fills the artist with nostalgia for the good old days when he was young and dumb, and there were ghosties and ghoulies and long-legged beasties and things that go whump in the night. Portraits of the artist as dowager empresses, duchesses dowager, and other noble relics of a world that is no more. Well, almost no more. There is an odor of sanctity emanating from some of them, although the royal cosmeticians have done their best to conceal it with royal jellies and other rare concoctions. Some have taken the veil to pray for us sinners, while others, more realistically, have taken to drink. Portrait studies of wholesale meat distributors whose monopoly of this macho market has gone to their heads. This metamorphosis has only intensified their desire to implant, in a responsive public, those deep-seated liberties which they have gone to such great lengths to make self-evident. Instead of the soldiers, sailors, candlestick makers, and bald-headed hermits who used to ogle the strippers, tossers, shakers, grinders, hip-heavers, breast-bouncers, ecdysiasts, and comédiennes of yesteryear, nowadays boy and girl scouts, unblushing brides, seamless blue stockings, juvenile delinquents, senior citizens, and even very high muckamucks can play together and stay together under the alluring and equalizing balustrades of their friendly neighborhood indigo obscenimas, gobbling family-sized bags of hot buttered pop corn. A portrait gallery of snoopers and snuffers, snufflers and snippers, snipplers and snibblers, and one notorious brown-noser. They are all past masters at snitching and snickling, squealing and leaking, marking and narking, piping and stooling, gaff blowing and chirping, squawking and peaching, and, above all, probing with their proboscises. To wit, Hamlet, Act 4, Scene 3. You shall nose him as you go up the stairs. But Thackeray, perhaps, comes closer to the point in Chapter 5 of his unforgettable and all but forgotten novel, Catherine. Hush, hush, the beaks, the beaks! Performance art. An art act, an art fact. A porn romance for ear or rear, or a fart for art for one performer, a neat feat for an art ponce. Eat art, meat art, cat art, rat art, face art, race art, near art, fear art, or art for a fat art mart. In vino veritas, vino in Nino, Nino in Nina, ova in Nina, in vino vita nova. Vergiss mein nicht, vergiss mein Gesicht, vergiss meine Gischt, vergiss meine Rente, vergiss meine Ente, vergiss meine Rechte, vergiss meine Richte, vergiss meine Sinne, vergiss meine Minne, vergiss meine Verse, vergiss meine Genie. Ich, vergiss mich nicht. Aphrodisiacal applesauce, a sermon. Mankind, and of course womankind, have been on the road ever since Almighty God, creator of heaven and earth and all things, kicked Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Paradise. Get out, said the good Lord. Go. Go? Adam and Eve had never heard the word before, nor had God had occasion to invent such an irregular verb until now. Yes, G-O, go, go forth, hit the road, beat it, move on, buzz off, scram, be gone, clear out, vamoose, skedaddle, absquatulate, take a powder, bung-ho, doodaloo, tinkety-tonk, get lost, off with you. Off we go into the wild blue yonder. Where shall we go? Asked Eve of Adam. The question, madam, to Eve said Adam, is not where, for you never know where you're going till you get there. The big question is how. In the beginning, there were no roads. Neither God nor Satan needed them. Angels had wings, like the birds and the bees. Cats and dogs and sheep and tigers, big whales and little fishes, and all other creatures in the animal kingdom didn't have to worry about roads. Lucky creatures, because they were free of original sin, despite their animal appetites, and were not forced to go forth. As I was saying, in the beginning there were no roads, and Adam and Eve and their children, and their children's children ad infinitum, were forced to build roads to go forth, north, south, east, and west, out of the gates of paradise. So they went forth, walking and crawling, chopping down trees, swinging from vines, burning down forests, slipping on ice, knee-deep in mud, tripping on stones, bridging water, boring through mountains, on and on and on, and in and out, up hills and down dales, over highways and lowways and yellow brick roads, across seven seas and high up in the sky, forwards and backwards, but still on and on, all the way from their paradise lost. Footnote, said by some to be somewhere in Iraq, of all places. On and on, up the Tower of Babel, and then down again, straight down the middle of the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, which, after that fateful sunny day against a sky blue backdrop, when the twin towers of the World Trade Center came tumbling down, has become a universal state of mind in the global village, lost way out there in cyberspace, from which there is no way out, thanks to the voracious appetites our first parents had for aphrodisiacal applesauce. A broken alphabet. Songwriters, playwrights, and filmmakers have enriched the world with many things to break. Broken arrows and broken angels, broken bottles and bubbles and bones, broken china and broken commandments, broken dolls and broken dishes, broken English and broken eardrums, broken faith and broken feathers, broken guns and broken glasses, broken hearts and broken homes, broken images and broken icons, broken jaws and broken journeys, broken kings and broken cupids, broken laws and broken lives, broken marriages and broken mirrors, broken noses and broken needles, broken odes and broken omelets, broken promises and broken plates, broken queens and broken quadrants, broken records and broken rosaries, broken spells and broken silences, broken toys and broken treaties, broken urns and broken unions, broken vows and broken violins, broken wings and broken women, broken Xmas's and broken X-rays, broken youths and broken yo-yos, broken Zulus and broken zombies, and for good measure, let's give Zsa Zsa Gabor a break.